That's essential. Early voting is really essential, especially at mail-in voting too. Particularly for a lot of us who might be out of town or whatever, mailing voting is very important. As you remember, that's one of the things that number 45 accused us of, because he dissuaded his people from early voting and mailing voting. And then when all the votes came in, because people voted, it showed him something different. So yeah, there are so many opportunities, even though in legislation throughout the country, they're making it harder for us to vote, trying to make it harder for us to vote. But we have a number of mechanisms, mailing voting, early voting, all of those tools we can use at our disposal. The items that Sister Whipper talked about, the checking your poll, your precinct numbers, we can do all of those things such that we will not allow them to discourage us from casting our vote. And I don't know about you, but our four parents did not die, did not bleed, did not do all of this for us just to sit down and not care about voting. People died for our right to vote. And so we need to vote. And even if, I want you to vote the right way, but you need to vote. You need to cast your ballot. You need to vote. Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. 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 One of the things that we do at our church, and I hope, is that we need to teach our children. We need to teach our children at home. We need to teach our children in our schools. We need to teach our children at our churches. We celebrate Black History Month, but we need to be teaching our children 365 days of the year about what our people have been done, what has happened to them in their lives. And we need to teach them their history. I know you will say, well, yeah, but it starts there, because it's only because we have that experience, some of us, and only because some of us may have lived through Jim Crow, some of us may have even been subjected to some of the stuff that is going on. But our kids may not have that same experience. And so it's up to us in our churches, in our homes, to teach our children about, what's going on, about our history. And so, and also, I don't know, we need to just educate our children, give them our thoughts about what's going on in the political, have them turn off the TV sometime, and those video games, the video games, and have a conversation with them about what's going on in the world. And so they could know where you're coming from as a parent, and so forth. And so our churches I think we have an awesome responsibility. Yeah, we need to preach Jesus Christ, but there's an application to that too. And so we need to. I think that's part of it. There may be other pastors who have other thoughts about what we need to do, but that's my thought about it. Yes, ma'am. Mm. Sure. Yeah, having a dialogue with children. I think the key point that you said is that we need to meet them where they are. Sometimes, we talk over their heads. Sometimes we're not able to relate to them, but we need to, at least hear them out, and such that we can have a dialogue and have that discussion. Oh. Mm. 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 Yes, yes. Mm-mm. Mm. Yeah. Children would know. That's right. Mm. Amen. 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 Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Sure. Peer. Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Thank you so much. So strategy wise, meet the kids where they are. We've got to have peers, talking with their peers about election and about the politics, involvement in our churches and our pastors leading the discussions and having our church to be concerned about the election process. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I often wonder when I listen to some of the political comments and they talk about evangelicals, and I say to myself, who? What evangelicals would be supporting this? It just amazes me. But the one thing I do, why I mention that is sometimes like I think Dr. Sanders said, that we talk about, we cannot talk about it in our churches. But those other folks are talking about it in their churches. Huh? They're talking about it in their churches, and they're not afraid to support whoever they want to support, and they support it right from the pulpit. So we have to be bold enough to do the same thing. I mean, we ought to be able to use those same tools. So if they can do it, we can do it too. Mm-hmm. 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 There are a lot of things that we can do, but that's part of the hoodwink that the other side is placing on us. And if we allow ourselves, because the Bible says that our people perish because of the lack of knowledge, because we have not educated ourselves, we've not availed ourselves to the knowledge. Because you could listen to folks telling you all that stuff, but if you avail yourselves, you'll know better. But you're absolutely right. But the other folks don't want you to think in that direction, that there are all the alternatives. They don't want you to do that. Yes, ma'am. Mm, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yes. Abrams. Abrams. Stacey Abrams. Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So we've got some work to do. We've got some work to do, and it starts with all of us. All of us. You could talk to your peers, your friends, about what we need to do. And I know the pastors, they know what they need to do. And getting people out to vote, getting them interested, and getting the information out. Don't let people hoodwink you and tell you anything, and you accept it. You accept it as the gospel. No way. Not logged on yet? Well, Michael B. Moore should be here shortly, and if he's not here, we'll just have to go on. Is there any other comments or questions? Yes, ma'am. First Lady. Yes, ma'am. Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 That's a good point. Did you hear First Lady Simmons suggested that when we talk to people about voting, arm yourself with at least 2 or 3 points, 2 or 3 points as to why you should be voting for President Biden or why you should be voting for him. And she mentioned the prescription drugs, student loan, and the infrastructure bill. Let me tell you about the infrastructure bill, and this amazes me. Our governor, he accepted all of the national money for the infrastructure bill. When it came time to double up on Medicare, right, he still refuses to do that. But it's the same government money. It's the same government money. So you see the hypocrisy that they convey upon you. And so we need to educate ourselves, educate the people that we would come in contact with on what has been done for our people. So there's a lot of strategy. Yes, Reverend Hope. Absolutely. Did you hear that? Moderator Emeritus says a vote for Biden is a vote against Trump. Cancel out one of his votes. If you don't vote, it's a vote for Trump. Yes, ma'am. Good point. Good point. That's participating in the process. You know, we don't have to have the other side always working the process. We could get involved in the process. I remember when I lived in Indiana, that's what I used to do. Take a day off and work the polls. I worked the polls as manager, sit at the desk and all those kinds of things, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Good point. All of these are good strategies. All of these are good strategies, Sister Cableno, that we could use to educate our children, get them more involved. We talked about meeting them where they are, such that they could use some of the electronic medias, electronic mechanism that children use today, and just arming yourself with 2 or 3 points that you could share with other folks about why you should be voting. You know, so they're good strategies. Thank you all. I see one of our guests is here today. Right on time, because I was about to do another shuffle, but let me Charleston County, present to you candidate for U.S. District 1, Congressional District 1, Michael B. Moore, and we're going to ask him to come up and share with us his thought and why he wants to be our Congressional District 1 representative. Mr. Moore.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here and have an opportunity to share with you a bit. As said, my name is Michael B. Moore, and I am running in the 1st Congressional District. The current incumbent in that seat is Nancy Mace, and I think we can do better. Really quickly, I will just say we all have origin stories. Those stories that sort of anchor us to the past, but in the same way propel us forward. And mine started 185 years ago on the floor of a slave dwelling where my 43-year-old great-great-great-grandmother by herself gave birth to my great-great-grandfather, Robert Smalls. And Robert Smalls doesn't become Robert Smalls without Lydia Polite, his mother, and just all the strength and fortitude that she no doubt invested in him, growing up. And I think that strength from her certainly cascaded down to him, and I believe is cascaded down throughout. I have grown up with extraordinary inspiration from his story, but not just his. If I'm elected, I'll be the 4th in the last 5 generations of people in my family to serve in elected office from South Carolina. Really quickly, my great-grandfather was a guy, Sam Banfield from Beaufort. He, born in Charleston, 1848, went to the Avery Institute before it even got that name, Avery. Ended up down in Charleston, was a lawyer, and then was elected to the General Assembly. He actually founded a church in Beaufort, Berean Baptist Church, back during Reconstruction times. I have a cousin, Harold Boulware, who was a judge in Columbia, who was on the team with Thurgood Marshall that won Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. And then my grandfather was just a country boy from Chester, but he was able to get some education, got degrees from Michigan and Columbia, became a college professor, was deeply active in the civil rights movement in Durham, North Carolina, and served 12 years in the city council there. He would drag me to city council meetings, and I got a real sense for just the value of contributing to your community in this kind of a way. My background, I'm a business guy. I've run companies and organizations. I got back to Charleston. My family originally got here in the early to mid 1790s. My folks who didn't know each other here but left in the 1950s. Actually, the state of South Carolina paid my father to go to college out of state so he wouldn't have to test the segregation rules here in this state. But I'm a business guy. I've run companies. I got back to Charleston in 2015 to be the president and CEO of the International African American Museum Project, and met a number of you in that process. From a political standpoint, I just want to get something done. We have a Congress that has done literally nothing. And literally, I talk to people every day who in one way or another need for government to work, and to work for them, not just for the 1%. Over the last few years, the 1% created twice as much wealth as the rest of the 99% combined. And that's just wrong. It's morally wrong. It just indicates just a real imbalance of things. And so, not to get too political, but Nancy Mace is off doing her thing, and she has aspirations that appear to be beyond the 1st Congressional District. I will tell you that I've lived a charmed life. I've led companies. I've done amazing things. I've met with international heads of state. I've done a lot of things, but all of those things were stepping stones to this opportunity right here, to have a chance to represent some of the same people who my ancestors represented, descendants of whom my ancestors represented. So from a campaign standpoint, I'll tell you really quickly, things are going really, really well. We have an amazing team, the best campaign team, I'm guessing, in the state and beyond. The head of our team, the person who's in sort of a campaign manager role, was the executive director of the Democratic Party in Georgia when they flipped that state and won those 2 Senate seats. The person who's helping us fundraise was the finance director for Jamie Harrison when they raised $130 million running against Lindsey Graham. Then she went over to Georgia, raised over $100 million for Stacey Abrams in that effort. She's helping us, and I wish, frankly, that money wasn't as big a part of politics because it's anti-democratic. There are people who have wonderful ideas but may not have access to networks of capital, and they just don't have a shot. But we're out playing the game the way it's been, the rules are written. I will tell you also, for us, one of the things that will be really important is we're building a good old-fashioned ground game that we haven't seen in this district for a while. We already are pulling together an army of volunteers. We're going to be knocking on doors. We're going to be handing out literature, talking to people, listening to people. And I think that that's going to be really important to increasing the yield and getting the vote out. And the person who's driving that for us is from the district and ran field for Obama in 2008, then came back and ran field, not just in South Carolina, but a number of key battleground states. And so we just have an amazing team. We're really creating enormous progress. We are right now in the middle of a 50 events in 50 days kind of barnstorming tour of the district. We are literally all over, but connecting with people and feeling good about that. We've picked up some really wonderful endorsements from elected officials, from community leaders, faith leaders, and even last week we announced an endorsement from the International Longshoremen Association, which is the largest and most influential union in the state. And we're just doing the hard work. Here's what I would tell you about our prospects. This is a race that we can win. We've got the plan. When Joe Cunningham ran 2 cycles ago, he lost by 5,500 votes or so. Despite that, there were 73,000 non-white voters who just weren't inspired to go to the polls. Of course, we know that the General Assembly gerrymandered our district, took out 30,000 black voters from our district. And then the last candidate, Dr. Andrews, if she had just gotten half of the non-white vote, she even would have won, even with the gerrymandering. So it's going to be really important for us. We are focusing on connecting with the African-American community. Down in Beaufort County, there's a little more of a Latino community. We think that's important. But I want to give black folks a sense that there's something to vote for. There's something in it for them because we can do this. Women are going to be a really important part of this race. There are 173,000 left-leaning women in the district, all of whom are I was going to use a word that I probably shouldn't use here in church, but all of whom are very angry about the state of women's reproductive freedom and the like, and we're marshaling them together. A group came together just this week, Women for More, a group of women leaders who are supporting our campaign. We think young people are going to be really, really important. We've got a group of, it's about 15 now, but interns, you call them campaign fellows, and we're going to grow that group, and we're going to have our young people talk to young people in ways and in platforms that really make sense to them, to get them inspired to vote. And then I will even tell you the fact that Nikki Haley beat Donald Trump in the 1st Congressional District. I think that means that there are a group of moderate Republicans who will just not go to that MAGA extreme right now. And who knows, many of them may not vote for a Democrat, but some of them will. And we'll talk to them and we'll welcome them into this big tent. So I appreciate, I am really enjoying my time traveling to different churches. I think my average is 2.3 churches per Sunday. I was down in Hilton Head and went to a couple there, beautiful churches. And so I hope to have an opportunity to come visit many of you. I've already had a chance to visit my dear friend here. But I think we've got a real shot if we can energize our community, and we can win. So I don't know if it's appropriate Q&A or any questions or anything I can answer about what we're trying to do here. Well, yes, ma'am. Yeah, I think overall it does. I think there's a lot of curiosity. People are not going to vote for me because of that, but I think what that does in many corners is there's a little curiosity, and the fact that I'm running for the same seat that he served in, I think just adds just a lot of dimension to that. I have found that there are some folks, I would say not in our community, who I get a little hate around that, and I'm not quite exactly sure what that's about. But I am who I am, and I'm extraordinarily proud of my background. So, yeah. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate the time. I will just tell you that if you want to know more, our website is simply my name, michaelbmoore.com, and we are out working hard, and we're going to win this seat with your help. So, thank you so much.
One of the things that candidate Moore didn't share with you is, as I mentioned last night, in James Island tomorrow, there is the luncheon, and for those ministry leaders, pastors, and leaders of ministries, if you have not, the letter was sent out to you. You can go and register because he wanted you to RSVP to let him know that you're coming at First Baptist Church in James Island. I think that's Murray's church. So Reverend Murray. So please, ma'am, please, sir, if you're able to join him, you could join him tomorrow for lunch. Thank you. Is he on? Okay. Well, we're going to. Any other questions or comments? We continue to run ahead of schedule a bit, but I think the discussion. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you all for your comments, brother moderator, brother presider. I am going to turn it over to you.
Well, you are.
Yes, sir.
Amen. To God be glory. I want to, again, thank Mr. Moore for coming in to us his position and what he's running. We are appreciative of him taking the time out to address us and let us know a little bit more about him. So I'm glad to know who he's running against. I did hear that, and I'm so over it that a lot of us do not, as pastors, speak about who we are supporting from the pulpit. A lot of us use the 501(c) as a reason that we did not do that. I made it my attempt as pastor of Lovely Mountain to speak from my pulpit who I support. And I'm a 501(c) church. And I look at it like this: if the other church of the other persuasion can do it, and they're not being penalized for doing it, then why can't I? And they've been getting away with it, and they say from the pulpit what they want to say and who they want to say it about. And so, therefore, if it's good for the gander, it's good for the goose. If it's good for them, it's good for me. And, they have not taken anything from me because I've done that. And I don't expect them to do so. So let us not be ashamed of who we support and not be afraid to tell our people who they should fought for. Amen. It's for our betterment. Knowledge is power. If we don't give it, then who will? I believe that the black churches back in the day were the foundation and catalyst of our people in our communities. And we should not refrain from that, especially now. Our black churches are more important now than they ever were. And so we must not take it for granted that because we hoop and holler, we jump and run and everything like that. But when it comes to the social aspect, we have a great responsibility. And so let us adhere to that because, a lot of people, especially in the past, and whatever they learned as far as concerning society, it came from the pulpit. So let us not refrain from that. Amen? Amen. And thank you, Vice Moderator, for what you have done. We understand, too, that we're still waiting on one more. Okay. He hasn't called yet. Okay. The other thing is, too, I was just told that lunch is running just a little bit late. So let us not run away because lunch is a little bit late. And I'm going to ask that the General Secretary come now and here has something to present to us.
Registration taking place over to my left. So if you haven't registered yet, we ask that you would do so. We also ask those of you who may have mailed in. I know that Siwi mailed in. Did anyone else send your registration in by mail? Can I see a show of hands? Okay. Okay, great. Also, what the assistant secretaries would do is stand by for you to come and make a purchase of the books. And so we have some of our chairman's books here on the table, and we're asking you to please participate in purchasing a book. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to get y'all soul a little happy right now. And, yes, sir. Who's ready? He's ready. 5 minutes?
I see a lot of singers out there in the audience, congregation. If you would like to sing a song from the flow, we'll help you sing it. The Lord is blessing me right now, right now. Don't you know that the Lord is blessing me right now, oh, right now. He woke me up this morning and started me on my way. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh, right now. You know the Lord is blessing me right now, oh, right now. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh, right now. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh, right now. Woke me up this morning, I was clothed in my right mind. let me sleep too late. He woke me up right on time. You know he woke me up this morning, started me on my way. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh right now. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh right now. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh right now. He woke me up this morning, started me on my way. The Lord is blessing me. The Lord is blessing me. The Lord is blessing me right now, oh right now.
I'm gonna go to the car, get some
I don't possess houses or lands, fine clothes or jewelry, sorrow and cares in this old world, my lot seems to be. But I have a Christ all in my life, it makes me happy. Yes, Christ is all in all, this world to me. Christ is all, he rules the land and sea. Christ is all. Without him, not do not be. Christ is all. Without him, not be. My Christ is all in all, this world to me. Real, Jesus is real to me. Oh, yes, he gives me victory. So many people doubt him. I can't live without him. That is why I love him so. He's so real to me. Real. Jesus is real to me. Oh, yes, he gives me victory. So many people doubt him. I can't live without him. That is why I love him so. He's so real to me. Jesus. Oh, what a wonderful child. Jesus. so holy, meek and mild. New life, new hope to all he brings. Listen to the angels sing. Glory, glory, glory to the newborn King. Jesus, Jesus. Oh, what a wonderful child. Jesus, Jesus. So holy, meek and mild. New life, new hope